Looking for the reasons behind some of Quentin Tarantino's more quirky creative decisions is often pointless. He's a provocative artist that'll do what he likes for an effect, whether that's caving in Hitler's head or dropping N-word bombs everywhere or just refusing to answer what's in the briefcase. And there's something to be said about that sort of confidence. He's much more than violence, swearing, and big kahuna burgers though, and his stories often portray a caricature of society, detailing the lives and events of people who are so full on that they seem almost ludicrous, while at the same time raising questions of racism, sexism, and empowerment. And it's funny to notice that amongst all of the blood, all of the statements for justice or injustice, that one of his most action-packed flicks, Django, while most definitely a story of revenge and racial tension, could be viewed as a story about a dentist. Well, I mean, technically Dr. King Schultz is a dentist, but what I mean is that, just for a moment, let's not see this as Django's story, even though it most definitely is, and see this as Schultz's dentist fighting tooth decay. With this in mind, I'm Jules, and this is That Film Theories, Is Django Unchained about a dentist fighting sugar? To begin, we have the very obvious, the giant, wobbly-toothed carriage that Schultz operated out of when he was a dentist before putting down the fillings and started picking off the felons. Its ever-bouncing topper is a real Tarantino quirk. It's cute, weird, and eccentric. On a second level, it works for Schultz because it gives him an opportunity to hide in plain sight from his targets. Who, after all, would suspect that a dentist was about to kill them for a bounty on their head? I wouldn't. But on the most important level, it means that the dentist has a very literal battle with sugar. Well, two battles, to be more specific. When we first meet him, he's hunting the Brittle brothers. It's no accident that the violent slave owners share the name with a peanut brittle company, or that they generally inspire thoughts of that sweet, tooth-decaying treat. They're simply the first wave of Schultz's assault on tooth decay and his efforts to strengthen the otherwise brittle enamel. After that, of course, the real villain of the piece turns up, Leonardo DiCaprio's terrifyingly brilliant Calvin Candie, proprietor of the arrogantly named Candyland, a den of moral repugnance, inhuman violence against slaves, and an assumed air of superiority that is the sickliest poison. In the end, though, he's taken down himself, his rotten heart literally being the focus of Schultz's actions. It technically should have been his teeth, but to be honest, the thought of being shot in the teeth upsets me greatly. However, the dentist, in effect, deals with the infection in the most devastating way. But there's more to it than that. This is not merely a clever little gag by Tarantino for the sake of raising a few smiles. Schultz is no mere doctor, and the infection he fights is an entirely different one to simple cavities and toothache. He turns the tools of his trade to taking on the infection of slavery. Calvin Candie is the living embodiment of infection. He is the rotten tooth to be extracted, and if you want any further proof, just look at his teeth. Candie prides himself on his immaculate demeanor and affects airs and graces by drinking cocktails that he imagines to be the height of culture, and he surrounds himself with opulence and grandeur that's so over the top that it's vulgar. This charlatan presents himself as being the pinnacle of human evolution. He's rich, he's powerful, and he has dominion over people he believes to be lower than himself. He even has supposed science to back up his delusions of superiority. He is infected to the very root, and his teeth just give away his true nature. They're yellowed and obviously in severe decay, probably in part thanks to his affection for sugary cocktails, and it reveals his delusions for what they truly are, vain masks to be worn to cover fundamental rotting. Schultz might not be able to extract him in the same way that he did with the Brittle brothers, but on the discovery of the infection, he does what any good dentist would. He returns to remove the source, and he kills the infection dead. For Tarantino, Candie and tooth decay are allegorical pointers for the epidemic of slavery in the South. Calvin Candie and the Brittle brothers are the destructive influence spreading the infection through the sugar of their racism, their sweet smiles and polite airs hiding a horrible truth. And the rise in power in Django is the purest indication of the removal of that infection. Django isn't just there to continue the good work of his dentist forebear, he is good oral health personified. As long as he ensures racism and slavery cannot win. And as long as you don't forget to floss. And there we have it, a silly little theory on Django. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. And if I've got your curiosity and your attention, then please subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all of our releases. We're a growing channel, so every single piece of support really, really helps us. And as always, you look out for us, and we'll look out for you. I've been Jules, and I'll speak to you soon.